to the end of our learning process. I'm great. I hope all of you have had a lot of information that has been helpful. I'd like to see if we can start interacting perhaps. So let's start and try to think together on a few things. And I'm going to answer some of your chats as we go along here as well. Okay, so let's think together. How else would you like to see innovation in your field of study or sector? If anybody would like to share, the chat room is open. Anybody like to share a little bit more about that? My screen has just stopped sharing for some reason. I'm gonna just click that, get that started again. Okay, I see that Eric has responded to a fair amount of questions there. Was there anything that I needed to address, Eric, in particular? I see some in Q&A. What opportunities and learning platforms we can learn more in upskilling ourselves to meet the demands of the future? Hi, Maria. Thank you for your question. So in response to this, please do look at the free learning materials that we provided throughout the webinar on each topic. I would highly recommend that. And definitely, you know, the process is always different for everybody, but please always remember you can take your time to learn. A little bit a day makes a huge difference as well. Problem-solving function of AI, can it be geared to house cleaning, which is a typical female work in the house? Yes, absolutely. Christetta, thank you for your question. I don't know if you've seen vacuum robots. There are many brands of it these days, but there are these round robots that go around the house. Now, IoT can definitely be built in together with it to make sure that you know, the robot can potentially even kick off from your phone. I think that'll be very interesting. I even have a friend, you know, not to say specifically on house cleaning, but I have a friend that created a patent, and it's his own IP. And basically, he's got a rice cooker that can start up from your kitchen on your phone. So you can just make a decision. You can put everything in your rice cooker, or you can even put anything in a cooker, not necessarily rice. And you can turn it on when you feel like just before you come home. You know, there's a lot of work from home going on, but as you can imagine, Christetta, like this is one of the biggest things that, you know, AI can solve with IoT together to get things going. But yeah, other things with robotics is Amazon has just announced Alexa on wheels, and it's called Astro. It's like a pet robot dog. And what's really interesting with it is that Astro can literally guard your house. I know this is not really a female work in the house, but it's still something that people want in the house. It can even tell you if there are visitors that they can't recognize as well. So it's kind of like a pet security. And that has Alexa functions, which has AI embedded in it. So it's all getting really smart right now. Great. Data security. So data security is one of those things where, as much as cloud computing can help manage it, as humans, we are also responsible for our own data security. One thing that we do under Empire Code Software Development, for example, is that we ensure that there is data security through changing the password of the database every 3 months. How strong your password is also very important. I always recommend that passwords should be as long as at least 24 characters. Okay, so a lot of these things that we can do as well to manage data security. So Another third one, in terms of password, I'd like to add, since that just came to mind, is not using the same password for everything that you have. Quite often, for example, you can have an email to use to log in with. It can be business email, it can be your personal email, but you use the same password for everything. So I recommend a password subscription or a software to manage your passwords as well, to prevent any hacking or any hijacking from happening. Okay, Nahid, you asked for the link to the certificate. That will be provided very soon at the end of the webinar. Thank you for your questions. Other things to think about as well would be, how else would you like to see, apart from how else would you like to see innovation in your field sector? Please feel free to have a think about that at home. Like Christetta's idea of even putting it in your own house. What skill sets do you think are required to achieve the innovation you have mentioned? As I said, you do not have to be an engineer to be an engineer. Everything can be self-taught, I believe. As long as you have the interest, please do always go for it. As a lot of things are available. Being inquisitive is very important. James Dyson, for example, is a very inquisitive person. He'll look at a device, he'll open it because he's curious how it works. And then he'll think about how he can put it back together in a better way to work more efficiently. So being curious is also very key. Please always feel curious. Please always feel like you want to ask questions. Asking questions is very important. I ask questions all the time and every day as well. So regardless of how old you are and where you are in your careers, always ask questions, whether it's asking yourself or asking someone. If you have experience in any of the innovations mentioned in today's training, do you have tips and tricks to share with attendees on this call? Now, I think some of you, if you may be a little bit shy now to share, please don't worry, please feel free to share within your friends and within your cohort at university. If some of you are in engineering, please do share. I find it, having an engineering degree myself and being an engineer myself, quite often as engineers, we find ourselves sitting behind a computer trying to solve things on our own. We don't find ourselves sharing the information we have. But just remember, when you share, you learn as well, because we can't always think of a solution in totality. We need a team to do it together. And whether it's friends or colleagues or university mates or schoolmates, always remember, share your experience with everyone. Would you have additional free learning on innovation in this sector to share with attendees on this call? Now, if any of you have free learning information, please do feel free to share it with us as well. At Empire Code Lab, we use information to share on. We work very closely with UNESCO to make sure that everybody underprivileged, and in all sorts of segments in society, women in particular is our biggest focus. If you have any free learning resources, please share with us and we will share on as well. Okay, great. So the next one is additional reading. Again, the focus on this webinar series is on women in innovation, and I would like to inspire you, if you are a lady or a girl on the call right now, Inspiring Women in Innovation, Paving the Way for the New Generations by Ayoya. That is absolutely great blog that I recommend you reading. Latest Women in Innovation Awards announced, supporting female engineers by the manufacturer. That is all the lists of women in innovation. The gender effect on a firm's innovative activities in the emerging economies. Now, this is also very interesting. And we look at it on how women are still finding themselves a place, especially in engineering and within emerging economies. The 2020 watch list of women in innovation. Do take a look at that. And lastly, Women in Innovation, Understanding Barriers to Innovation. This is another additional reading, definitely worth everybody looking at. Additional free training. So not too long ago, we ran another webinar with UNESCO, and the webinar was Empowering Women Through Technology for Sustainable Goals 5 and 17. So if you have somebody you want to recommend this to, it includes how do you set up Wi-Fi at home? Now, so a lot of you that are on this call, because you're already using a computer and you're already on this webinar, you understand digital literacy very well, and you obviously know how to set up a Wi-Fi. Now, this is great for people that you may not know. It can be even your grandmother. It can even be people that you're supporting or teaching in underprivileged homes or sectors. We want to educate as many people as possible for free. This is our initiative with UNESCO, and I'd like to share everything that we have with you as well to share on. So here are some learning resources. If you sign up for an account at Empire code LoveSpec, the website is www.lovespec.com. Eric also has it on the chat room at the moment. Click on your account profile and you'll see access to all free learning resources. UNESCO also has a web link where they have all their resources available, and this will be made available to you as well. So please make use of all this free learning. We're here to share and help you out with achieving your goals, whether it's for yourself, for someone else, or for greater good. Now, question and answers. I think I've answered all the questions. So because the webinar has ran on by 20 minutes, I won't continue with this, but the most exciting bit of this webinar for all of you now to participate in is our survey. So if you go to bit.ly/SDG-ET, which doesn't stand for the alien, but stands for engineering and technology. You may go on there now and fill in your survey, and we will get your certificates on the way to you as a thank you for attending the webinar, and as a thank you for making an effort, being brave, and coming in here to learn today and to understand how to innovate. Okay. John Knox, the presentation on the robotics reminds me of the first time I saw cleaner robots in Australia cleaning a swimming pool. Yes, they're great, aren't they? Now, those robots are just something that have really been a lifesaver for many households. Definitely with swimming pools in Australia, the US. We don't have that here as much, unfortunately, but that is innovation. And in a lot of countries, especially where labor gets more and more expensive, a lot of the work has moved to managing these innovations. So what I do want to always say is that, when it comes to innovation, we really have to come and embrace it, and we really have to upskill ourselves to get there. And John, you're asking another question as well. What are some ways that we can present some important data related to school operations, specifically related to the cloud computing? Some important data related to school operations. I guess, okay, one thing I can think of would be how you present test data. So tests, like school tests. A lot of tests these days are still on paper. I think the US has really done a great job in moving tests online for their schools. And I think out in our region, even Singapore, we are still extremely far behind. We find a lot of students sitting in test halls, having paper and putting it there. And then we have teachers collecting the test paper, and then we have them getting marked. In my time, what I heard is that, when I sat for the exams in Singapore, particularly my Cambridge O-level exams, I was told that the papers would get sent to the UK, and there have been instances where papers have gotten lost. That's really scary, isn't it? Now with cloud computing, this is where things can really change for schools. You have all your tests done by students as long as they're able to do tests, and it all goes straight to the cloud with backup. So I think the most important thing is that cloud backup is extremely key. I mean, we use cloud software at Empire called LoveSpec. We work with Amazon AWS, we work with Microsoft Azure, and we always make sure that our data is backed up, especially with anything crucial. So yeah, so I guess this is one of the way moving tests online. It can even be more extensive. It can even include potentially understanding your students and how they learn, and improving the processes as well of learning. So as to create, I guess, ironically speaking, a non-robotic society. You want learning to be for everyone, and I think individualized learning is extremely important in getting your talents up and running in all our societies, if we want students to definitely be more innovative as well. Crush, if you ask about robotic process automation, where can I learn online, and what course or subject can I start learning? Now, I am going to, Eric has shared the link. Thank you, Eric. So I'm going to move back to RPA a little bit. And under RPA here, if you can see my screen, Crush, okay, so we've got a lot of interesting learning materials. If you just remember this, Crush, remember Automation Anywhere on Udemy. That the Automation Anywhere is great. There's so much information on RPA, and I recommend you get yourself started there. LinkedIn Learning has a great introduction to RPA as well. That's somewhere you can go to. If you want to advance your skills on RPA, it can move a lot further with coding as well. So having some computer science knowledge greatly helps your, it helps you with RPA, and it helps you with understanding how you're going to code things in RPA. For example, I looked at creating a curriculum on focus on RPA for our education center before, and that was basically using Python to get some RPA processes in place. So with Python, you can get involved in getting your Excel spreadsheets automated, your emails automated, all these things like email replies can be automated based on what people ask you. It just keeps getting smarter. So this is what I would recommend. So I'm going to move back to the link, but there's something very important that Eric has shared as well before we go away today is on the chat, you notice that Eric has shared 2 more webinars on this series that we'll be having. One is Supporting Skills for Women Innovators in Law and the Arts. This is a fun webinar. Please go on it. It's so fun. Like, you're going to find out how Netflix does it. You're going to find out how Hollywood does it. All things come into place. It's not just about law. We have arts in place as well. So under the arts, we've got the music industry, we've got the film industry, and also, of course, the arts industry, but you're going to see how innovation comes in place. And then the last one, which is our closing webinar, that's on the 7th of October. This is also something that everyone should attend, particularly with coronavirus now, and there's so much talk about it, and you want to understand how to be innovative in medicine and pharmacy. Please join that webinar on Supporting Skills for Women Innovators. Focus on the industry sector next Thursday, the 7th of October. The links are on the chat. And they're also on my LinkedIn. If you'd like to follow me on LinkedIn, I'm Jasmine Tang, Empire Code. So you can follow me on LinkedIn, and I post things every week. And you'll also have all this registration information. I even have a post on an innovator a week every Thursday. It kick-started thanks to UNESCO, and I started putting on an innovator every day, and I've just had overwhelming responses on my LinkedIn on sharing an innovator a week, and I've decided that I'm going to do that for years to come as well. So, please go ahead and look me up on LinkedIn. More than happy to share all this information with you. If you let me know that you're part of the webinar and the seminar, please feel free to connect with me as well. I always enjoy connecting with people that I teach as well on webinars. Okay, great. Have I covered all the questions, Eric? Is there anything that I might have missed?
Yeah, we've covered everything for today. Thank you very much, Jasmine.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you for joining the webinar today. Don't forget your survey. And I will not be running the next 2 webinars. We will have Aaron, who has a law background, and we'll have also Lorraine on the one for medicine. So I won't be seeing you here. So if you do want to reach out to me, as mentioned, I'll see you on LinkedIn. And okay, thank you, everybody. We'll close the webinar right now. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.